Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. Listen, we're just going to give you guys a quick reaction. Shaunie has obviously said that, she feels like Shaq response to her, extract of her book. She doesn't know why he decided to react the way he did. I'm going to tell you this now by Shaunie Henderson's response. It tells me that there's probably a little bit of unaccountability on her part, and it's a pattern of behavior that's probably going to continue in her current marriage. If she doesn't sort that out, that's potentially going to be harmful to that relationship that she's in right now. Because the very thing that she's talking about in the situation, the extract of her book said in love, where most of us misquoted and said she never loved him, which she never said. She said she never knew she was in love with him. His quote actually says, I understand, I wouldn't have been in love with me either, and says, I don't know why he ran with that particular quote, with that particular excerpt of a quote. And that tells me that if she can't even see that actually he was actually agreeing with you, and actually was saying that, you know what, I understand we felt that way, then that tells me that, listen, there's probably still a bit more feeling there that she's actually probably being honest about. But number two, also, he never said anything bad about you. So why would you need to go on the attack, almost in a sense, for Shaq? It tells me that there's probably still a little bit of unaccountability, and I think there's some spikiness about Shaunie that's potentially going to be showing up in that current relationship. The pastor's also going to be getting the same energy that she's given now. He's getting it there too. Right? Because it's happening right now on our net. Okay? And when you don't deal with past behaviors and they crop up again, it's an opportunity for us to change those behaviors. But if they keep coming up, it means you haven't sorted the issue. And we need to sort the issue out. All right, so let's go through this really quickly. But before we do, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. We really appreciate you guys who have been showing love as well. Look, we're doing some coaching as well. I'd love for you guys to jump into coaching. Sign up to my calendar. Put yourself in. It's not free, but what it is, you can pay what you feel the session is actually worth. And listen, I always bring gold and I always bring revelation because the God that I serve has always blessed me to do so with wisdom. And I want to be able to help as many people going forward as possible. This is a video that you need to pay attention to because I'm going to expose some things that will be very helpful for your relationship going forward. Okay, so it says here, I'm going to read this quote here as well. It says that this was a quote from her book, obviously Undefeated. It says, in the book, Shaunie detailed how Shaquille was a cheater and wasn't around a lot. As a result, she stated, looking back, I don't know that I was ever really in love with that man. But I was in love with the idea of being married to the man. I had a family with, Henderson wrote. I was in love with the idea of building a life together. I truly did enjoy spending time with him. Shaquille responded on social media and said, I understand I wouldn't have been in love with me either. Wishing you all the best. All love, Shaq. During an interview with People magazine, Shaunie says a quote was taken out of context. I'm not a word girl, I'm a character girl. And since I've left the marriage of Shaquille, my character has spoken for itself, she explained. Well, first and foremost, we'll deal with that in a second. Now, it says here, if I can get this smaller, let's get this here. It says here, now one would think if you were writing a book, you'd try to be a word girl. But Shaunie expounded on her comment saying, when you love somebody, you love somebody. But to be in love with somebody is a different feeling. And I'll be honest, I didn't realize that until I found the love of my life, i.e. the love of my life, meaning you wanted to love somebody. Right? So that's why I said about in part one of this, this is part 3 of the video. By part 1, I said about how she needs to take accountability for how she was not in love with Shaq. It's not Shaq's responsibility. She needed to be in love with him, and she hadn't done that. But anyway, until I found the love of my life right now, and I'm in this marriage, I'm like, oh gosh, it's a different feeling. As for Shaquille, Shaunie says she doesn't understand why he would. Shaunie says she doesn't understand why he would run with the out of context excerpt on her social media. Either way, Shaunie is standing by her comment of never being in love with Shaquille. Where did he lie? And where did he get it wrong? He said, I understand I wouldn't have been in love with me either. So where is the mistake? Where is the running away with the excerpt? You said you weren't really sure if you were in love with him. And he said, I wouldn't have been in love with me either. Because he's already admitted that he's been a cheater and he's been bad, and he's admitted that he was a problem and he's the reason why this marriage broke down. He's already admitted that. So why would she then go on to say, I don't know why he's running on with that particular excerpt? It's not out of context. It's in context. When you explained it, you stood 10 toes down by saying you weren't really sure about being in love with him. But when you love somebody, right? So where is that being out of context? Right? Where has that been out of context? You explained this scenario, okay, on Tamron Hall. Let me bring this to you. She explained this on Tamron Hall. Look.
But you said about the marriage, you said, looking back, I don't know that I was ever really in love with the man. It made me want to cry.
Yeah.
But I was in love with the idea of being married to the man I had a family with. I was in love with the idea of building a life together.
Absolutely. I was in.
Oh, absolutely. So where did he get it wrong? He didn't get it wrong. I think she's a little bit hurt. Maybe she's a little bit annoyed, or maybe she's a little bit frustrated with the fact that he didn't maybe wasn't hurt by it or something or whatever. But it's strange that his response was actually backing you and actually understanding where you were coming from, and yet her disposition was to attack. And this is what I'm going to say. I always say this, when people don't realize the patterns that they exhibit, you can leave one relationship being a victim and go into a next relationship and cause more carnage in that relationship when you don't realize the patterns that you exhibit. In part 1 and part 2 of my video, I broke down and said it is her fault that she was divorced in that situation. And I said that so that she can take accountability, that we all can. Because when a relationship breaks down, whether I was the wrong party or not, I must take accountability for why I was there, why I chose that person, and why I did certain things in that relationship. And oftentimes we play a huge part in the reason why that relationship breaks down. Whether it's the choice of person you chose, whether it's the way that you maintain that relationship. Now, she can do all the love things within that relationship, but she herself was not in love. And I broke it down that it was because emotionally connected, she was not. If you notice the wording that is used in the post, right, talking about, let me see if I can bring this, let me bring this back so you guys can see it. She spoke about not being, that he wasn't around a lot, right? So here we go. Yeah, there we go. Get off. Let's bring this. Okay, yes. So as you see this, look. It says here, in a book, Shaunie detailed how Shaquille was a cheater and wasn't around a lot. As a result, she stated, looking back, I don't know that I was ever really in love with that man, but I was in love with the idea of being married to the man I had a family with. Why? Because people that are emotionally disconnected get in love with delusion. Oh, let me say it again. People that are emotionally disconnected fall in love with delusion. They don't fall in love with a person. They fall in love with an idea. So if you're somebody who said, oh, I wasn't sure if I really love my ex, you were the problem. Oh, no. Don't look at your ex. Oh, we're calling them a narcissist and all this kind of nonsense that we always say and, to get ourselves out of a situation. No. Look at you. Look at you. What were you bringing to the table? You were in love with the idea of him, means that you were in love with the delusion that you were projecting onto the screen. And it's because you're not emotionally connected to yourself. Therefore, how would you know how to connect to somebody else? So irrespective of whether Shaq is a cheater or not, he probably was emotionally disconnected too. I've said this in part 1. Right? So accountability on Shaunie would be that when she heard Shaq say this, she'd be like, you know what? I appreciate Shaq for backing me. Because that's what he was doing. Right? Shaq wasn't attacking her. He was actually agreeing, saying, I wouldn't even be loving me either, to be honest. And then you further going, I don't know why he's running with that narrative. Well, because you said it. Have you forgotten what you said? Have you forgotten what you've put in the book? Have you forgotten that you've stood 10 toes down after and agreed that that's what you wrote in the book? Why are you annoyed now that he's backing what you said? He didn't take it out of context. And neither, you know what I mean? A lot of people said that you didn't love him at all. He said in love. He used the words that you used. And this is giving somebody who's going to be unaccountable with their words. They're going to say stuff and then backtrack and pretty much just gaslighting. But we don't go to that duty because gaslighting actually is a much more deeper thing that people use all the time. But you're pretty much actually not realizing that you're going to be backtracking. And this is, if you're doing this with Shaq online, you're going to be doing this with your partner in present. Yeah. If you're doing with Shaq online and you're trying to do it with the audience as well and rewrite history, baby, you're going to be doing that in your relationship. Because it's a learned behavior that you're exhibiting. So just for me to just put it out there, you know what I mean? So look, I want her to open her eyes and see it and change it. Because Otherwise, it could potentially ruin her current relationship. No matter how much sweet words Pastor says, no matter how much sweet words Pastor Kieran delivers, no matter how much you feel in love, if you don't look to change, and there's certain things that are going to be destructive patterns, baby, you're going to find yourself in a situation. Okay? All right. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Don't forget, we'd like for you guys to sign up to our coaching. We really appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll